strong.
What's going on, everyone? Between the Dots here today. We are excited. Who else loves playoff hockey? It is here, finally. The Sens did not make it, unfortunately, this year. Wings didn't make it either, in a close call at the end of the regular season, coming right down to the wire. Exciting stuff. But NHL Playoffs is here, and, of course, the Leafs made it.
Yes, sir, they did.
Yep, here we go. So tonight, what we're going to be chatting about here, we're going to be talking about the playoff matchups, a little bit about our predictions as well for each. They're not all set in stone yet, but just kind of going over our predictions. We're going to talk about our Between the Dots bracket challenge, which the link can be found in our description below, and then just kind of wrap up a little bit of the end of the regular season stuff. So, Kijo, how you doing today? I see you got a nice Jays hoodie on. That looks good.
I do, yep. Jay's season's young. This isn't because I'm giving up on the Leafs because they're winning the cup this year, but yep, Jay's season is going. Pumped for playoffs, though, that's for sure.
Yeah. You were saying you went to a game on Friday, too?
I did, yep. First time the Jays have ever lost to the Rockies in Canada, so that was just great.
Nice. Glad you got to be there to see it. That's great.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Rory, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Doing good. I heard that the Rogers Center got lower bowl renovations this year too.
Oh,
Did you
it's
get
so
to check
nice
that
in
out?
there. Yeah, it's awesome. It's gives you the real ballpark feel, not just a stadium like it was before. It's really nice in there.
Gotta love how Rory comes on. It's like, yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Like my team only like lost out of the playoffs by a tiebreaker, but I'm okay. Like he's just putting on a brave face for us. So that's
I
nice of
actually
you.
am. I actually am okay with it. They've not been playing well. They didn't deserve it over the last couple months. So, I mean, it was entertaining that they put on a show till the end, but it wasn't in their control at that point, right? So
Yeah, that's good.
it's tough to,
You've come to
yeah,
terms with it then.
yeah, I guess so. It's good for like Side or Edmondson and Raymond to get valuable games like that. And Raymond, he really like emerged at the end of the year too, looking like a clutch player. So uh, a couple big contracts coming this summer though for those two guys. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
next thing for Wings fans to look forward to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was a little worried about you last night. We had to make sure we were checking on you throughout the night and stuff. So
It was tough. It was tough. I couldn't believe that they tied it up 3 seconds left. So I opened up my laptop, and as soon as I flip it open to put on the Philly game, empty. I'm watching the replay of the empty net goal, and it's like you can't make that script up. It's what are the odds of that playing out on the last day of the regular season for all three teams? It's just
Did you
that's
smash the
wild.
laptop after that? Because I would have.
that's just brutal. And the way it happened too with Philly pulling their goalie in a tie game, and then finding out afterwards they didn't necessarily even need to pull their goalie because Detroit was going to overtime, so maybe they could have kept him in. And
The what ifs are actually insane. Like, what if that game started at 7:30? Even like, never mind Philly having one less point or one more point, or Philly just not even having the tiebreaker over Washington. Just all these like tiny things. If it was
yeah,
just one game difference, it's crazy how every little thing means so much. And honestly, like, good on the NHL schedulers for having division. Like, your last game of the season should probably always be in the division just to create more storylines like that. Because
yeah,
that was the craziest night of regular season hockey that I've
yeah.
ever watched.
Really puts into perspective when we say at the start of the year, like, oh, these points matter in September and October, and getting into
Yeah,
like these early season games matter, and it's
there's a
yeah,
prime
that's tough
example.
because like then it's got to be tough. You just going over all the what ifs of, oh, they could have had another point here. Oh my gosh, that game where we got scored on with like 10 seconds left, and then went to overtime or something like that, and we lost. That's tough.
Is there a game, Rory, this year that you can remember that it's like they just gave it away? And now I'm not talking about what we were talking about before, about that goal. But is there a game that you remember where you just know they should have won and now it comes back to haunt them?
There was a stretch. There was a stretch where they had 3-goal leads in the third. There's like four. It was like 4 games in a row, and they let it go all 3 games, 3 or 4 games. But I can't remember the outcomes of them exactly. I just remember it was one stretch where it was kind of frustrating. But honestly, it just comes down to that March, where they had that 0-8 stretch. Philly had one too. So teams have those, but like where Alex Lyon had 2 wins in 16 games, it's like just pull out one win, just one more win in there, you know?
That's crazy. Yeah, Philly with just a brutal collapse too. They were like sitting comfortably. I thought they were going to be locked into the third spot in their division, and then they just tailspin out of the playoffs. And Washington comes in, scoops up the final wild card spot. So
Well, that was the Wings too. They were up 8 or 9 points on the Islanders at one point and ahead of Tampa Bay. They were 3 or 4 points up on Tampa Bay, and now they're back like 12 points. So it's just like the crazy swing that happened in the last month and a half. I think they're at 75% odds to make it in the playoffs at that point.
yeah, that's wild. That's wild. So playoff matchups are set. In the Eastern Conference, they're set. Western Conference, there still could be some change happening. So we'll talk a little bit about the Eastern Conference matchups that are set, and then we'll give our predictions for who we think are going to be in the conference finals for the East and the Western Conference, who we think is going to win that and be in the Stanley Cup finals, and then, of course, who is our Stanley Cup winner. So why don't we just start by going over the matchups in the East? The first matchup, the President's Trophy winning New York Rangers versus the Washington Capitals, the team with Alex Ovechkin finally gets back to the postseason, squeaking in that last wild card spot. The next matchup, you have the battle. Well, we'll stick with the Metro. It's Carolina versus the Islanders. It's probably going to be the series I watched the least out of all of them there. And then we have the Battle of Florida between Tampa Bay and the Panthers. And then we have the last matchup in the Atlantic, which is the Boston Bruins versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, a rivalry renewed.
Leafs in 4, baby.
Yeah. So why don't we start just like which series intrigues you guys the most?
Oh, that's Toronto-Boston, hands down. It's interesting that you say that they're going to sweep because it looks like Boston swept Toronto in the season series now.
That's a dagger, Rory. Thanks. Thanks for that.
Just the reminder that
Misery
the Leafs
loves
didn't beat
company.
Boston all year, and they're heading
At
into
least I get
playoffs
to-
on a 4-game losing streak potentially. So
Hey, at least I get to sit back and watch my team this weekend. So
That is
the
right.
two of you don't have that to say. So just put that out there.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that is certainly an intriguing matchup. Like just that rivalry, and it's been a while since they've had a matchup against each other. I think that the Leafs will be looking to get some revenge on them tonight.
It's funny when like this is obviously going to be an insane series, and I'm pumped for it. I know the history obviously hasn't been with on the Leaf side for the series against Boston in the past, but I just think like Boston's a really good team. They're ahead of Toronto, so Toronto's the underdog, even though everyone in the media will make it seem like Toronto's actually going to win in 4. I don't think they are, but without Bergeron in Boston makes me feel a little bit better. There's things that Boston's game's been slipping a little bit. Not that Toronto's been great of late, but I don't know. I'm just pumped for that Bruins Leafs series again. Makes it feel like it did just when Matthews came into the league and Marner and those guys a few years ago. And actually, Florida and Tampa, that's going to be another good one. It's crazy to think, too, a few years ago, I know Tampa's won quite a few cups in the last little bit, but I think we talked about this midway through the season. But Florida, like the Panthers and Tampa, probably weren't crazy hockey markets not that long ago. And now it's like, I'm sure those rinks will be full. The Florida fans are going to be hating the Tampa fans and vice versa. And I'm pumped to see how Matt Tkachuk and what he does to the Lightning. Because to me, I don't. If the Leafs beat the Bruins, I don't know who I'd rather play. Obviously, the success last year against the Lightning is good, but it would be an interesting series.
Yeah.
I'm just really hoping that those are the two best series for sure, Kijo. I'm just really hoping that they don't play at the same time. I hope that they're on different nights because, yeah, those are the best two series by far. What are you looking forward to, Falks?
Honestly, I would not be shocked. Both those series, looking forward to those ones especially. But the Rangers Washington as well. I'm thinking that's going 7. Like they have so much history. I know, like you're like looking at me like, come on, but that one's going 7. The Rangers Washington seems to always get pushed like that. And you told me a stat beforehand too, where Washington's been playing fantastic defensively lately. They've only scored 9 goals in their last 3 games. All right, which means they're playing great defensive hockey, and that's what wins championships, and that's what wins these close games in the playoffs. So, I think Washington could give the Rangers a little bit of a run here. We'll see, or they could get swept in 4, and then we can play this back.
And there it is. Yep.
And then we can play this back afterwards. But honestly, I think it's gonna be close. I really do. I think Ovi's got a lot he still wants to prove, and I think it's like that's a really, really good matchup. I think for them as well. So I'm looking
What do
forward
we
to that one.
think about the I don't know if I sent it to you, Felix, the pesky Isles. I saw a nice pesky Islanders thing and probably back to the pesky Sens, but what do we think about the Islanders? Are they going to hold on against the Canes?
Mm,
I think so. I think I am picking the Islanders against the Canes. They've been red hot as well. I think they're 8-1-1 in their last 10, and a little bit of bias because I think the Rangers get through. So I would love to see a New York matchup in the second round. Speaking of rowdy arena, folks,
that's
that'll
a
be another
matchup.
one in the second round. Those Islanders fans are insane too. So
Mhm.
and
Going
everyone loves
against the
MSG.
Rangers. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's just a short trip for those fans from Long Island to Manhattan. So
yeah. And
that'd
I
be.
don't know. I just feel like you can't really trust the Canes. Like even still, I don't know. It's
Mm,
something about them. But like even after adding Gensel, who's been playing incredible for them, I don't know. Something's speaking to me with the Islanders, so I'm gonna be riding with them. But
mhm,
yeah, probably not watching much of that series either.
mhm. So the last series that is set, it's not in the East, it's in the West. The only one that's currently set. There's a few more that are depending on who wins, who loses tonight and tomorrow. The one that is set in stone is Winnipeg Jets versus the Colorado Avalanche. So we'll chat about that one a little bit. Winnipeg was 3-0 against the Avalanche this year so far. And what are your guys' thoughts on that one? Any quick takers or things like that?
I just think if you're the Jets, you have a really good season, finish second in your division, and here's your reward: the third place Colorado Avalanche and Nate McKinnon. Like, Hellebuck's gonna have to be the star of the show there.
Mm,
Um, I don't know. I would not want to be anybody that has to play against Nathan McKinnon in the first round of the playoffs.
yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, for sure. I was surprised to see that Winnipeg swept that season series, but also this was
Mhm.
just like a few nights ago. They beat the Avs like 7-0. They absolutely blew them out. I'm not sure if that's necessarily the message that you want to send before a playoff series. I like to think that teams usually bounce back from those, and but yeah, I mean, being Canadian, I like to root for the Canadian teams in the playoffs, but yeah, I don't know. You got to think that come playoff time, the Avs are stepping up, and those big boys
Mm.
are going to make sure that they're not missing out in the first round.
I think it sends a message like mentally, or it's a mental thing. If you get beat that bad against the team that you're going to be going against in the playoffs, like that close to playoffs, that really sends a message, I think. And like sometimes it's a team can play harder if they just believe that they're going to win, or if they have that mindset that they're just better, and then doubt creeps into the other team's mind. It causes mistakes, and I like if they're beating them 7-0 this close to playoffs, like that sends a message. So yeah, I think Winnipeg can win that one against the Avalanche. Yeah, I like their chances there. So that kind of. Do you guys have any other things to add with any of the playoff matchups?
I
Uh,
just think it's going to be a lot of good hockey, a lot of good series, like you guys said. Minus well, it'll still be a good series, the Islanders and Hurricanes. But yeah, I don't think I'll be watching that one, every game of that one. But I'm also pumped for if it stays the way it is, um, Edmonton and Vegas, because McDavid against that team, Draisaitl, obviously Hyman with a big year. That's going to be another good series too if it stays the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was just gonna ask. Yeah, so they've developed quite the rivalry with Vegas, but also with LA. And I was wondering what you guys would prefer to see in the first round, because I think that LA can still take that third spot. Who would you rather see the Oilers play?
For Edmonton's sake, I think they're both gonna be strong matchups, but I'd rather them face off against the Kings. But Vegas is a good matchup, a lot of history there, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, if I'm an Oilers fan, I'm taking the Kings all day long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of good matchups set in stone already, and some to be determined. Playoff hockey is always fun to watch. The intensity increases, and it's just fantastic to see. So, I also, side note, I love watching players' celebrations in the playoffs because every goal just means so much more. And I love when they make that like overtime winner compilation of all the overtime sellies in the playoffs. That gets me fired up. So, really looking forward to this year's matchups, and yeah, it's going to be some good hockey. We'll see how the Leafs do as well, facing off against Boston. The way things are, I mean, like quickly, let's just chat about the end of the regular season before we give our predictions for playoffs. But Matthews playing tonight, sitting on 69 goals, uh, potentially scoring 70 tonight. Does he get it? Yes or no? Real quick, Kijo.
Um, I think so. He's got two more periods to go because I think the first period just ended. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's had such a strong year. It comes to a point though where it's like everyone is. You could see in the game last night, everyone was just feeding him the puck. Like it's obviously a good night to bet the over on Matthew's shots because he's going to be shooting everything. I would feel more confident if the Leafs were ahead 2-0 right now, and there's potential of
The
Tampa
empty
pulling their
netter.
goalie.
Yeah.
But no, I still think he's going to get it. They're going to get a power play, and he'll come through.
Yeah. He's got to get it the real way. He's got to earn it. Not with an empty netter.
It's funny how the scenario played out. Like, do you rest him or do you play him for that last
Mm-hmm.
game to get 70? Are they full roster playing right now, Kijo?
Yeah, a couple D are sitting tonight. I believe Riley's out. Edmondson is out. They're sitting one more D, but their forward Domi's out. But Nylander, Tavares, Marner, Matthews, they all played tonight.
Nice. So we'll see if he gets it. If they do, then plan the parade for the Leafs because that's basically like it's them winning the cup essentially. Like that's. I said that though to a Leafs fan today, that if the Leafs Matthews, if he scores 70 goals tonight, it's gonna be like they won the cup. That's gonna be their big moment. And then he's like, you know what? Don't take anything away from us. All right.
Is that why you have that black eye? Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, yeah. So they we'll see. We'll see if they can. Well, he was saying that because they don't often get success at this time of year, especially come playoffs, and their season could be over in a week and a bit. So
Like
we'll see.
did you forget that they won a round last year? You
That is
must have.
true. That is true. So
Like everyone just lose in
honestly,
the first round. They're gonna
okay,
win again in the first round, and then next year it's gonna be the same thing. Oh, Leafs
talk
never win the playoffs.
talking about that matchup. One last thing: if they can manage to slay the Demons against the Boston Bruins, okay, then they move on and they face Florida or Tampa Bay, and they've beaten Tampa Bay, so I wouldn't be really too scared of them. They beat them last year, and you're going up against some redemption against Florida. Like you've already slayed kind of one of the demons that you've had with the Bruins, and you've beaten a team that's better than you in the standings. Like that would be big for them. So
Oh, it's our year. It's
yeah,
our year.
yeah, there we go. Well, speaking of your year, let's talk about our predictions now for the playoffs. Rory, why don't you go first with your predictions for who will be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Ooh, all right. Speaking to that point, the Boston-Toronto series does kind of remind me of when the Caps won the Cup, and the years prior, it was Sid and the Pens stopping them every single year. And then the Caps break through, and that was all they needed to send them all the way to the Cup final.
Baby, here we
It's
go.
And I don't know, like, it would be a lot more exciting if Bergeron, Krejci, and Rask were there, because then Toronto fans can really get that feeling of, we beat those Boston Bruins that kept us out of the second round for all these years. But it's still the Bruins nonetheless, and it would still feel great for them in the end. And yeah, it'd feel like the massive weight off their shoulders. I mean, I hate to pick the President's Trophy, but like, the Rangers they seem so complete, and they're such a playoff style team. They have all the skill up front, and then they've got also all the grit. Like, they got some of the grittiest defenders as well, who are going to be constantly playing you rough in the corners, getting in front of every shot. Rempe probably intimidating a few guys out there as well, if he's on that fourth line still. I think I like Rangers-Toronto conference final. Oh, that would be an unbelievable matchup too. I think Sportsnet, ESPN are going nuts about that original six as well. So, yeah, that's what I like. But also, for some reason, the President's Trophy winners have always struggled to make it too far as of late. So, I don't know, that's what my preliminary thoughts are. Teams coming out of the East.
Kijo, your predictions?
I like the Rangers too. I mean, I agree with everything you said, Rory. I just think those Shesterkin, Adam Fox, Keandre Miller, they got Zibanejad, Panarin, Rempe on the fourth line if he's there. Like, nobody's gonna be messing with any of their stars. Like, the Rangers, I think, could really do some damage. I like them coming out of the first two series to play in the Eastern Conference Final. I would like to see the blue and white there against the Rangers. Leafs and Rangers. I think, again, if Toronto's going to win, they're going to have to beat the teams that have beat them before. So if they come through with a win against Boston, and then again, whether it's Tampa or Florida, they are the underdog, but I guess against Tampa they wouldn't be, but I think they have a good team. Like, they've got really good forwards. They've got some good D, not the D that the other teams do, but I really think that they could. It wouldn't be a shocker if the Leafs won the first round, won the second round, and were against the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final. So I like Leafs, Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final.
Okay. All right. All right, we can't all pick the Rangers. I'm not going safe like that. I'm not taking the President's Trophy winners. Like you said, Rory, they haven't done well in the past few years anyways. They're out early. So I'm going with the New York Islanders in the conference finals. I'm taking the Islanders. I think that they're going to be pesky enough, and if they can get over the hump of beating Carolina, then they're going to say to themselves, why can't we beat the Rangers? They got, obviously, an elite goaltender with Sorokin, and they just play a greasy defensive
boring
mindset. Like, yeah, it's just like they'll wear you down. Playoff hockey. They still got that like tough fourth line and just like team tough. We've talked about them this year a few times. Noah Dobson on the back end, a great player. So they got pieces in everywhere you look. So I think the Islanders make it through, and I'm going with the Florida Panthers in the conference finals as well. So a little bit different. So I have Panthers versus Islanders. I think Florida, they've looked really good and steady all year. They're going into the playoffs on a high note, securing that number one seed in the division. I think that's going to play in their favor, and it's going to get them into the conference finals. And it's going to be a Panthers-Islanders matchup. Maybe not what the NHL is hoping for, but yeah, still going to be a good matchup and great hockey.
The NHL or anyone watching the playoffs. If it was a
Yeah.
Florida New York Islanders Eastern Conference final, that would suck.
I
We
actually
cannot
just
be having that.
I actually just looked at the teams and I said, who would be the worst possible matchup to see in the conference finals? And I chose those two teams. Now,
Honestly, I like that Islanders pick.
yeah,
I want to pick them. I want to like them. It's just the offense.
mhm,
They've shown it, I guess, and I love that they're one of the teams that you kind of like. I feel like you want to root for.
yeah.
You want them to do well, like for their fan base. So I respect that pick.
And like you mentioned too, whatever it may be, those President Trophy teams, maybe it's they just feel a little bit more pressure coming in the playoffs. I don't know, but they seem to be dropping out early in the past few years. So I think Washington could even give them a really good run and take them to 7. And heck, even if they can pull out a win there, that'd be could end up with an Islanders versus Capitals second round matchup. Wouldn't that be something? So yeah, I think that's where we're at with the Eastern Conference. Why don't we do our Western Conference and then who makes it into the finals after that? So who are you taking? Two teams from the Western Conference to be in the conference finals, Rory?
All right. I know that we just talked about it and it being a tough matchup, the one that's locked in, but I think Winnipeg is gonna upset Colorado. Ever since the trade deadline, honestly, they've been on fire, and they're on a 7 game win streak right now. I think they move past the Avs, and even even that second round, which if that's Dallas, that's a tough matchup. But I just love the offense on Winnipeg right now, and Hellebuck is having a Vezina type season, so I'm not going to be fading that, and just going with the rowdy buildings and the whiteout in Winnipeg making it to the conference final would be pretty cool to see, close to home too. So um, that that means a little bit too. But I think they're pretty close to a complete team. Maybe a little lacking a little bit on the back end, but Winnipeg and Edmonton, I think. Thinking about Edmonton's really slow start at the start of the year, they've got to be like the team with the best record since November
Mm-hmm.
or like mid-November, would have to think. And yeah, like the other teams, I'm a little shaky on. Like Vancouver's been great. We'll see. Would love to see them move on as well. Uh, Nashville and Vegas, I'm just not really sold on. Wasn't sold on them at the start of the year. They started hot and have really fallen off of late.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that Edmonton's Edmonton's too good for those other teams as well. So all
Love,
Canadian conference final.
yeah, love that pick. Especially love the Oilers pick too. Really like that one. That could be good. Kijo, do you have your choices? Who do you got?
I think I love the Oilers pick as well. I was leaning towards that, but just to change it up a bit, I think Thatcher Demko's back. The Canucks have had a really good year. I think they're way better than a lot of people thought they would be this year, and maybe that's gonna go over into the playoffs. Teams think, oh, the Canucks they're not for real. If they end up playing the Preds in the first round, I think they can beat Nashville and hopefully ride the momentum from there. So I have the Canucks against the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars to me are a complete team. Good goalie. They made the good trade for Tanev at the deadline. A lot of good forwards up front too. Robertson and Jamie Benn's been hot lately. He's had a good year. A lot of people I think thought he was on a bit of a decline, but he's been good. So I like the Dallas Stars and the Vancouver Canucks.
Love that pick as well, the Dallas pick. So I was thinking about picking Dallas. I just noticed this though. Winnipeg is on a 7 game win streak right now, heading into the playoffs. They got 1 game left, so they technically could lose to end that win streak heading into playoffs. But could you imagine riding an 8 game win streak into playoffs? That is where you want to be at as a team. Like, doesn't matter who we're going up against. We have that winning mindset. We're the best team. That's incredible. So if I'm looking at it, out of the Pacific Division, I'm taking the Oilers. I think McDavid and just all the talent they have there. Their goaltending's still a little suspect in my opinion. They have something to prove there still. And if they run into a team like Nashville or even Vegas, if they catch Vegas in the first round, can be a problem for them. But in terms of goal differential this year, Oilers have the best goal differential out of all the teams in the West currently. Obviously, still one game to go, but I still like their chances. Captain McDavid, just that team in general, all those guys there. Draisaitl, Hyman, the way he's been playing, he brings, he elevates his game come playoff time. So I like the Oilers. Out of the Central Division matchups, that one is the one that's tough for me. It's coming down to Dallas or Winnipeg, and I'm gonna go with the Dallas Stars. I'm hoping Winnipeg can win, and I'm hoping Winnipeg gets there just for the sake of having it be an all-Canadian conference finals potentially, or just having at least a Canadian team in the finals. But I think Dallas is going to be too strong of a team. They've just been great all year. Good everywhere you look. They play a defensive style of hockey. And so does Winnipeg too. So if they end up facing off against each other in the second round, then that would be just a fantastic series to watch. So all in all,
We're going to get roasted for nobody picking the Avalanche.
Yeah.
No Avs fans in here.
Yeah. Avalanche are 3-5-2 in their last 10 right now. So they've been falling off a little bit in their last 10, but still a really good team, and I wouldn't want to go up against McKinnon in the playoffs either. Like that's a tough matchup for sure. And an experienced team too, with their history that they've had and their runs that they've made. So yeah, those are our predictions for who's in the conference finals. What about Stanley Cup finals? 2 teams, and then who is the winner of the Stanley Cup? Why don't we go?
You start, Felix.
All right, we'll go
start.
backwards. Let's go backwards. Put her in reverse order. For me, Stanley Cup finals going to feature the Florida Panthers versus the Edmonton Oilers, and I'm going to take the Florida Panthers this year. I think the Panthers are a really strong team to me. They've got just like grit. They've got great players at each position, and they've been solid all year. Oilers, I think they'll get there, and if they get there, I hope they win. I was tempted to take Dallas in the Cup Finals. I'm going Florida, Edmonton in the Cup Finals, with Florida taking the cake.
Okay, I like it. I do like
we'll see.
Florida winning. They're a good team. They looked very good last night against Toronto. For me, coming out of the East, the blue and white again. The boys are winning the Eastern Conference. They're going to the finals. Come on, Felix, it's happening. Let's go. It's our year.
You can finish first.
The Leafs are going to beat the Rangers in the Eastern Conference final. And then the Dallas Stars coming through. I was tempted to go with the All-Canadian Stanley Cup final with the Vancouver Canucks. But Dallas is going to push through. So we're going to have a Leafs-Dallas Stanley Cup final. 1967 is no more. The Toronto Maple Leafs are the 2024 Stanley Cup champions.
Clip it.
Oh, I can't wait, fellas. I can't wait.
I almost had to leave. I can't believe it. Again. It's going to be funny to watch after round one's complete.
Hey, that's what you guys said when I said Matthews was going to win the Rocket this year and he's going to score the most goals. And here we are. He's getting 70. So Leafs are winning the cup. Book it.
Anything can happen, right? Right. That's a good point. I mean, hell would have to freeze over for that to finally happen. But, it's Leafs. It's their year, I guess. Can we go back to last year and play back the clip? We're going to start to just pile them together every year. and create.
I'm gonna have to get my walker when I'm walking in here saying the Leafs are winning the cup. No, it's happening. It's our year. Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna be holograms by the time the Leafs finally win the cup. All right, Rory, your picks.
Please say Toronto.
It's so tough. I'm not picking Toronto. I'm so tempted to pick Winnipeg for some reason. I want to pick Winnipeg, but I don't know. There's something else that's telling me that McDavid is simply just going to will that team to a cup as well, just single-handedly, because of how frustrated he was after last year. Oh man. Yeah, you know what? I'll go with my gut. I'll go with Winnipeg. Winnipeg's going to pull it off. I think the Jets win it. And who's the runner-up? Who's the runner-up here? I'll go for the Buds just for the fun of it.
A Jets versus Buds final. And then
that would be wild.
That would be great, actually. Then the Cup's coming back to
I would
Canada.
love that.
Yeah.
I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice. Just
at
more
that point,
heartbreak if the Leafs lose that, though. Oh my gosh. That poor fan base. I mean, at least they've made it, though. Because they actually, fun fact, they actually haven't, I think they haven't won a conference finals series since, I don't know what it was, since it was before Gretzky scored that one goal against the Leafs. So before all the conference realignments and things like that. It's been a while.
Folks, if they lost in the Cup final, we'd maybe have to take a trip to Buffalo for the weekend, because being in St. Catharines, we're a little too close to the potential carnage of the fallout of that.
Yeah, that'd be scary. It could be scary. So it'd be worse than the Vancouver riots.
Oh yeah.
That would actually be scary if Toronto won the Cup. What would happen to that city? Which is so sad to say, but I don't even want to think about what people would do.
I'm just thinking about the clips of the Raptors.
Yeah.
It would be 10 times bigger than that.
If they won the Cup, I know so many Leafs fans would honestly just cry and be.
I would cry,
overjoyed.
100%. Yeah. If they win the second round, I'll cry. I don't want to know what I'll do if they win the Cup.
Yeah, you'll be just overexcited.
You know what? I'm getting a little teary just thinking about it here, fellas.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Those are our picks. So we got the Leafs winning in one of them. We got the Oilers winning another. And we got the Panthers. So we all chose different teams.
The Jets.
The Jets. Sorry, the Jets. Yeah. So we have Leafs, the Jets, and the Panthers as our picks. We all chose different teams. So 3 out of the 16 teams we chose. We'll see if we can get one right in terms of who wins.
And let's see it all change when we actually fill out the brackets on Friday.
Yeah. So, which actually brings us to our next point. We mentioned it a little bit earlier in the show tonight, but we have a bracket challenge this year. So if you are interested in joining, the link is down below in the description of our video. The group name is Between the Dots, and the password is BTD2024. So you will need that to join, and it's all caps. Yep, BTD is in caps, and it's BTD2024. You can build your brackets starting on Friday once all the matchups are set. You can join anytime before starting now before the playoffs are underway. And we can have a little prize for the winner as well. And it's just some good fun. Test your ability to see into the future and choose a little bit of the matchups as well. So
it is awesome seeing everyone's picks, and I know we're all looking forward to it. I know we're going to talk about it just in a second here, but similar to our fantasy hockey league, we had a lot of teams in that. I think a lot of people had a good year there. Maybe not everyone had the results they wanted, but jump into the bracket challenge, and we'll see who's got the best hockey knowledge for the playoffs.
Yeah, so we'll share that out on our socials as well, and it can again be found in the description below this video. And you mentioned the fantasy hockey season. It came to a close for the Between the Dots Fantasy Hockey League. Owen Hinch, our champion, congratulations to him. Skyler in second place, and then John in third place. So those are our top three. It's a competitive league. It was 18 teams deep, so congratulations to those guys. It's quite the feat, actually, like considering how many teams are in that league. So well done, gentlemen.
Hinch is just raking it in from between the dots stuff, isn't he? He's won multiple giveaways, and now this. He's doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah, he is. So proving his hockey knowledge. He must be paying attention to us, or not paying attention to us and going in his own direction, one or the other. But So that's it for Between the Dots Fantasy Hockey. All fantasy hockey leagues came to a close, and now we get into playoff fantasy hockey leagues, if those are underway, if you're in any of those, and I guess fantasy baseball too a little bit if you're in any baseball leagues as well. So go Blue Jays. We'll see.
It's the Jays year too. World Series, here we go.
Yeah. So I guess that we're coming to a close here on the episode. Do you guys have any kind of final thoughts or anything you wanted to mention about the end of the regular season? Anything like that?
I just feel bad for Mr. Sidney Crosby. Briefly touched on it, but that guy did everything he possibly could to get his team in. The Pens in the playoffs would have been sweet. Whoever they matched up against, it wouldn't have been a crazy shock to pick them. I would love Pens Rangers way more than Pens Caps, but I feel bad for Sid coming to the end, and I know they're playing right now. And how do you even get pumped up for a game like that?
Honestly, anyone but the Caps. I would have taken Philly. Would have loved Philly as well, or the Wings. Original six matchup. That would have been
or
okay
maybe the
too.
Wings.
That would have been okay.
The Wings might have been too, yeah. Man, Crosby though has been like MVP caliber this year. Like every year you think he's getting older, he's going to take a step back. Like he really is a generational talent and has just like been dominating the league ever since he came into it, and still is without a doubt the best player on that team. And it's just like wow, like a testament to how good he is.
Sorry, folks. He just got his 1,000th assist last week as well.
Yep, which is that's impressive stuff too. So, one thing also, kind of touching on the end of the regular season a little bit as well this year. So Kucherov right now sitting at 99 assists. Connor McDavid has 100 assists this year. Both those players, if they can reach 100 assists, Connor McDavid is the 5th ever player to reach 100 assists, and Kucherov would become the 6th. So only ever in history where there are 4 other players who have ever had 100 assists in a regular season. So that's some impressive stuff right there. Obviously, Kucherov and McDavid could both be up for MVP nominations this year. Why don't we quickly end on maybe some MVP chat, because I know there's some debate surrounding that, whether or not if Matthews hits 70 goals, should he be a shoo-in for MVP?
You start, Rory, because Falks isn't going to like my answer.
Oh, I was just looking up who the other 3 players were who got an assist. I thought some trivia was coming or something, but maybe that's easy. Maybe that's an easy guess. Judging by the names that have come up on my phone, it was pretty easy. This is for MVP.
Yeah.
I tuned you out. We've done this talk with the McDavid bit. It's not going to be him just because it wasn't like
he has only
got the
75 games played though. 75 games played. That's 7 less than everyone else.
I just feel like he wasn't talked about as much as McDavid gets talked about. So I think it'll be Kucherov. I think he's pretty much got it on lock because he carried that team for the entire season, basically solo. So,
Kijo?
I also think it'll be Kucherov, which sucks because I think he just 43 goals, right? You got one tonight, 44 goals maybe, and creeping up on 100 assists, like 143 points. whatever he ends up with. Like, that's insane. I do think, though, the 70 goals, like, scoring 70 goals and not being the MVP is wild to me. It's crazy how much all these players mean to their team every year and how many points they put up. But to score 70 goals in 80 games, or 81, I guess Matthews will have played, and to not win the MVP is wild. But I feel bad for Matthews. I hope he gets stuck on 69, so I don't even have to say he hit 70. But yeah, I think Kucherov's winning it as well.
Mm-hmm. I'll make that unanimous. I think Kucherov's got it on lock as well. It would be really cool to see somebody hit 70 goals this year, though. I will say that. How about the guys who finished second and third in the Rocket Richard scoring? Sam Reinhart with 57 goals, and then third place is Zach Hyman with 54. That is absolutely shocking to me. If you told me at the start of the year, like, those guys are finishing 2-3 in goal scoring this year, I would have told you that's crazy. Like, you're leaving out guys like McKinnon, Pasternak, Kucherov, like, it's just Rantanen, even, like, all these goal scorers that have proven that they can score and score lots, and yet Sam Reinhart and Zach Hyman are finishing 2-3 this year. That's crazy to me.
27 rips on the power play for Reinhart.
Wow. That's a lot. Yeah, leading the league in power play goals by a large margin. That's crazy.
He outscored 19 Red Wings players with just that alone.
Wow. That's wild. That's wild. So, yeah, so it's been quite the year. A lot of surprises. Even the Islanders getting back to the playoffs to me is a bit of a surprise. I mean, they were there last year, but getting back there this year again is surprising to me. It's been a fun regular season. We'll go over our predictions next week, the ones that we made from the regular season. We'll go through them a little bit next week and basically calculate up who was the closest with the point scoring system that we had, who was the best at predicting this year, and then this time next week we'll be talking about playoffs again as well, and they'll be underway. So exciting stuff, exciting time of year. Everyone loves playoff hockey, and we're into the thick of it right now, or we're just getting started. So it's good stuff. You guys have any final thoughts on today?
I am so fired up for the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. It's crazy how fast the regular season flies by. And then, or how long it seems like it takes at some points, but now you get there, it's like, wow, it's already playoffs. Summer's just around the corner. The Leafs are winning the cup, so no complaints for me.
Doesn't fly by if you're a Sens fan. Every other day is pain for us. So. Yeah.
I love that they're starting. I love that they're starting on a Saturday, so you can potentially watch 8 game ones Saturday and Sunday with no overlap. Let's just hope that the scheduling goes that they do the right thing there and spread the games out.
So funny you say that, Rory. I just got an update. This is from the Score. Game 1 start times for the Eastern Conference. So the Islanders at Hurricanes will be on Saturday at 5 o'clock. The Leafs and Bruins Saturday at 8 o'clock. And then Sunday at 12:30, we have the Lightning at the Panthers. And Sunday at 3, Capitals at Rangers.
Okay. So I like how they divvied it up. And I do like how the Florida series is not on the same day as the Leafs Bruins series. So
yeah,
I agree. Don't know if I love the 12:30 start on a Sunday for a playoff game if you're one of those players. But I mean, from the couch it'll be sweet. So looking forward to that. But 12:30 start to a playoff game is kind of tough.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess probably either tomorrow night or Friday, we'll see where the Western Conference teams slide in on those days. So
give me that Leafs Bruins Saturday night matchup. Oh, that is going to be electric.
there was no way that they weren't going to be in that time slot, right? Like that was the one lock. So yeah, that's awesome.
Bring it on. We'll see what happens. So again, join our bracket challenge for the playoffs as well for a chance to win a little bit of a prize. The link is below for that. Password again is BTD 2024, all caps. And join anytime. We look forward to seeing how these matchups play out. And thanks as always for watching Between the Dots. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. And check us out on socials as well too. So thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next time.